Welcome, welcome, welcome. Debs Cooper, global stressologist here. Oh, here as I talk about here. Here coming from Sydney, Australia. Thank you for joining me. Woo! Today's Facebook Live literally came from an idea from a beautiful woman. And her question was, how do you actually keep the peace while trying to resolve the chaos that's going on? So today's Facebook Live is about strategies for resolving concerns while keeping the peace. Where do we start? The first thing is drop in the chat. If you're here watching live or if you're here watching replay, hashtag replay would be awesome. I'm going to give you some strategies today that I know work for me. Clearly, I don't give you stuff that I haven't tried myself. So I'm definitely one to try these. It works, seems to continue working, so that's what I'm sharing here today. They are in no particular order. No particular order, people. Just let's get that one out for there. So grab your note-taking device and let's kick off as we jump into it. So there's two words, and it's called calm communication. Calm communication. Even just that makes me go, sometimes I just don't want to. Sometimes I just don't want to be calm. Sometimes I just want to let it all out. Like, I understand. But when you can truly master that calm communication, it allows others to see and think differently. Because this, as much as I want to say this is all about me.com, this isn't just about you. Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, I did. It's actually also about the other people around us. So when we're looking at our clear communication, when you can express it, when you can express your concerns or your words or whatever you want to call it clearly and assertively. Now I'm going to add that, and assertively, but without escalating tension. So assertively means with certainty. This is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing. But you're going to be cautious of what you say and how you say it. So when I say that, it also means actually you're going to choose your words thoughtfully and carefully, but you're going to use a neutral tone. You're going to use a monotone tone, because when you elevate your pitch, we know what happens to people. And when we get angry or sad or deep or any of those things, I don't know if angry or sad was actually a deep voice, but I'm clearly not that great at mimicking voices. So you can do your own for your own benefit. Thank you. But when it involves actually using your words carefully and constructing them with that monotone, neutral tone, you can actually hear both sides of the parties. Now, if you require, you can actually practice what you're going to say. I will tell you, you can practice until the cows come home. You can practice. But very often, not often, it actually comes out how you've practiced and practiced. Or maybe that's me. I don't know. If that's you, let me know, because I can practice and practice. This is how I'm going to say it. This is what I'm going to say when they do this. Is I'm going to plan it all out, and then something changes, and out comes, who knows what comes out. So you can practice what you want to say. When you're listening to yourself, if you're going to practice to master this calm communication, when you're listening for a monotone in your conversation. You're listening for, the flat line. You're listening for the flat line on a heartbeat. You're literally not even listening for a heartbeat. You're listening for that. Because when you can communicate clearly and concisely, people actually lean in and they listen. But when you elevate things and mastery things, and you throw this in, there's going to be an elevation in your pitch that people may not hear. They're just going to hear that escalation that happens. So it's also important when you're doing this clear communication to be authentic for who you are. Tip number two is shift your mindset. Now, when I talk about shift your mindset, clearly that's what I do. But you're going to reframe your conflict as a chance for experience instead of a threat. So it's going to be a chance for experience, growth, evolution, whatever you want to call it, but it's not going to be a threat. And conflict is actually communication. I've done a Facebook Live on a video on conflict versus communication. I'll see if I can find it and drop it in the chat for you. But conflict is actually just communication. It's just communication when two people don't seem to see the same eye to eye. So if you can see these disagreements, and I say disagreements because that's what it feels like, a disagreement, as opportunities to cement, strengthen, and grow that relationship you have, whilst clarifying expectations, you can engage in a more solution-focused approach instead of reacting. And we know what happens when we react, because no one actually ever listens to us, and all they remember is Deborah lost her shite at this. That's all they remember. Thank you to my daughter for reminding me of those moments when she was younger. So if you can shift that mindset, it allows you to actually see and think differently. The next tip I'm going to say is boundaries. And can someone come up with a new word that's not boundaries? Because boundaries just make me cringe, even just that word. But you're going to set clear boundaries. And when you set those clear boundaries, you must define what it is. You must define what it is for you. What works for you and what doesn't work for you. Or what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. If you don't know what's acceptable for you and what's not acceptable for you, you're going to be like two worlds apart. It's like I'm selling my car right now and people are like, what's the lowest you go? Now, if I say the lowest is this, and if I say the lowest is $20,000 and they're thinking $5,000, then we're not even in the same ballpark. So you must get clear on your expectations. So what is it that's acceptable to you and not acceptable to you? And when you have these boundaries, you're going to communicate them with confidence and certainty. Remember that monotone. We're not going for the heartbeat. This one time I actually don't want you to have a heartbeat. You're going to go for that monotone. Is this actually all right, this lighting? Oh, crikey, I'll just leave it at that, I think. Don't touch anything. And you're going to keep going with that monotone, and that's going to be where people understand you. So if you set boundaries, or when you set boundaries, they actually prevent resentment and misunderstanding, because this is the biggest problem of communication, is that resentment and misunderstanding. It's missing information. When people don't get it, there's not enough information in there. If you're not adding those things in, people are not going to be aware of what your expectations are. So we're making that expectation clear and ensuring you don't compromise. That's the other thing. But your well-being is going to grow. So when you set those clear communication, concise boundaries communication, your wellness is going to grow because you're going to feel wholesome in what you say and do. However, I'm going to say be flexible. With the boundaries is be flexible, because if you're not flexible on what you say or do, others may take advantage of that. I don't know what could actually happen to you, but the key is to be flexible. For me, I'm flexible in what I say or do or how things are, but also knowing this isn't going to compromise what I have around me. The next one I'm going to give you the tip is your emotions. If we can regulate your emotions, that makes all the difference to everyone, because you know what happens when your emotions are a little bit cray-cray. We know those ones. So when you can regulate those emotions, you're going to learn to manage your stress and stay centered and poised, even in those heated moments. One of my favorite tips when someone's firing at me is literally hand on my heart. Hand on my heart, wherever my heart is under here, hand on my heart. And it just allows me to remind myself I live here. And I'm not taking things personally from what they're saying to me. I'm going to talk about not taking things personally, because that's just a whole new level on its own. So hand on heart allows that to hear what they're saying, and it allows you to manage your stress, but without going chaotic and discombobulated. You can also just pause before responding, but you can also breathe when they're talking. Just practice that deep breathing right now. And there's a thing called triggers. If I can say triggers, there's a thing called triggers. And triggers are things that prepare you for doing something. So you may have a smell and it's a trigger. You may have a noise that's a trigger. You may have a song that's a trigger. A color car. There might be a whole lot of different triggers. It might be just going to your mother-in-law's or your father-in-law's house. It could be any of those things. It could be going to see your children. Anything. So when you see that trigger, you must pull back and go back to yourself. When you see that trigger, you must pull back and go back to yourself. And this next tip is great for triggers and great for anything. And it's good. It's called good. And this is it good for me? when you're making decisions to do this action or what someone's asked you to do, when you don't want to do it, you're going to ask these three questions. Is it good for me? Is it good for others? And do I want to? Now, all three, good for me, good for others, and do I want to, have to be a heck yes. Yes, 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 yes. If they're not a yes, then they're not for you. Now, that doesn't mean not for you a month down the track for the next month. It just means for you right here, right now, when you made that decision, it's not good for you. And that helps you when you're regulating your emotions to go, is this good for me right now? Is this good for others right now? Do I want to do it? No, actually, I don't. I'm tired. I'm cranky. There's all these moving parts going on. No, I don't want to do it. Then don't. Then don't. And you're going to go back to that clear, concise communication. You must do things for you. You must do things for you and not others. Even if they're paying you. Even if they're your family. Even if they're your intimate partner. You must put yourself... Next tip, you must put yourself first. If you're not doing things for you, chaos will happen. If you're not doing things for you, you must drink from your own cup first. You must give your overflow of your cup that's sitting in your saucer to others. You must do what's right for you right here, right now. Next tip I'm going to give you is turn your disagreements into solutions. And when I talk about disagreements into solutions, so instead of whenever you have a problem, there's a solution. There's a solution to every problem. There's balance to every chaos. So instead of actually focusing on this disagreement and what's going wrong and this, and this, and they did this, and I said this, and I don't even want to be part of this anymore. When it gets to that point, when you can stop focusing on who's right and focus on what's best. What's the best solution here right now? What's the best for me, for others? Do I want to do it? What's the best solution right now? Because when you're actually focusing on the solution-based, the disagreements and the chaos disperse. If you require that person work together, towards common ground, and you're going to find something mutually beneficial, an outcome that's mutually beneficial, and it's going to allow you to prioritize long-term resolutions over short-term wins. It's going to allow you to prioritize long-term resolutions over short-term wins. So, hey, last time we did this, I didn't feel we covered enough of this. Is there any chance we can do that again? Or I'd like to address that again. Any of those ways of actually turning your disagreements, they said, she said, drama, chaos, back to what's the best solution we have right here, right now to get an end result. It just takes that whole discombobulation, takes you not looking at things personally, it just takes you out of the chaos and into solution-based. I talked about personally before. I really want you to don't take anything personally, because when people say or do things, it could be because of their PEMS. You've probably heard me talk about PEMS, your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. They've had a poor sleep. They've eaten too much junk. They're emotional. Something's happened that morning. They've watched something on the news and something's happened. They're mental. They've read a book and it's mindset, not mental. They've read a book and there's some stuff milling around in their head going, how does this relate to me? How does this relate to me? Their spiritual feels out of order. When their physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual is out of order, shite happens. Shite happens for you, shite happens for others. So you don't know what's going on in their world with their PEMS, so you can't take anything personally. You did this. Yes, okay. Yes, correct. I did do that. Or, okay, you think that, but let's get a solution base. You can't take it personally for you, because that is just going to throw you right out for everything you do. Excuse me. And remind yourself you're human. Remind yourself you're human. You're here having human emotions, having a human experience with human emotions in this human world. Excuse me as I take a moment. I can hear my mum saying, you've yawned, have a drink of water. Thanks, Mum, I'm on to that. Oh, by the way, don't take anything personally when my mum tells me I yawned and I had a drink of water. That's Mum, topping up my health care. Thanks, Mum. The next tip I'm going to give you when you're resolving concerns while keeping the peace is glitter bomb yourself. If that task you're doing is and you don't want to do it, but you're doing it because of something, out of the good for me, good for others, and do I want to do it? Ensure that you throw some glitter in it. Don't just look at that task as being so heavy, don't want to do it, whatever it is. Ensure that you have some glitter in those moments, because those glitter in those moments help you move forward. They help that time. When you're doing things you love, what happens? Time disperses. When you're doing things you love, time just disappears. This is what's happened. When I'm talking to my friends or something and time just disappeared, and you're like, hang on, how did I disappear in an hour? I thought we were only going to talk for 10 minutes. Ensure that you're doing things that glitter bomb yourself, that light you up. And the next tip I'm going to give you is, I'm here. Debs Cooper, global stressologist here, 19 years in this business. I know how to get you through. I know that there's chaos going on. Book a call with me. It's a complimentary call. It's a glitter bomb call. We've got 20 minutes. We can nut a whole lot of stuff out and I'll send you packing on your way, because that is what I want to do. I don't want to see people in a state of pickleness, in a state of discombobulation, in a state of chaos. That is not what I'm here for. I'm here to transform your world into something that's more meaningful, more fulfilling, and something that lights you up. So please drop a call and let's connect, because serenity is so much easier to get through life than war. Serenity is so much more fulfilling than war. So that's me, Debs Cooper, global stressologist, and I am here in Sydney, Australia. Can't see my view out there, but if you're in Sydney and you've got a free weekend, I'm going to drop in the chat also the breakthrough experience, which I'm here this weekend in Sydney and next weekend in Melbourne. If you'd like to join, if you'd like to come along and participate, we have some spare seats for people. Let's get these things moving and not let this discombobulation stay blocking you from moving forward. So today's video was on strategies for resolving concerns while keeping the peace. I want to thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week when I'm in Melbourne, and that next week's one's an even better one than today. Thanks very much, people. Talk to you later. Bye.